Welcome everyone. Welcome to the West Side, specifically the 7th District. So proud to be here, so honored to be able to speak to you today. This is not just another construction project. It's a community reinvestment project. It's not just bricks and mortar. There are a lot of stories that go behind these walls. And an awesome opportunity about a month or so ago to meet with a bunch of former residents at a reunion that they held, and to hear the stories and to hear how they grew up and what was on what corner, what families were in this neighborhood was just profound. It was awesome to hear. This presents a unique opportunity here on the West Side to get some Wilmingtonians back to work. Specifically, Art Lebanenkus, who is a Woodlawn resident, so give him an opportunity to get to work. Mahir Bey, who's a city resident, we'll give him an opportunity to get back to work. This reinvestment is what it's going to take to keep this city together. Pumping dollars into the city gives the residents an opportunity to have affordable housing, and most importantly, housing that's going to provide them with some free income because it's going to be energy efficient. That free income that they're going to be able to now spend in our community and promote our stores and keep Wilmington thriving. And for that, I'm very grateful and very thank you, and I welcome everyone to the 7th District. Thank you.
A day that is a great day for Wilmington, a day to reflect on our past and on our future, a day when I can imagine no more perfect place for us to gather than here on Bancroft Parkway. Wilmington's West Side and the Union Street corridor are continuing to undergo a transformation. This important neighborhood, this vital neighborhood that has been an anchor for Wilmington for a century, continues to have new churches and new stores, new bakeries, new opportunities, and this incredible revitalization will play a decisive part in making sure that safe and sanitary, decent and affordable housing is available for a century to come, just as it has been for the century just concluded. The progress here and the progress in other ways, whether in the low-income housing tax credit federally or a land bank at the state level, the leadership that the city government, the state government, the federal government is showing in partnership with the private sector could not be better epitomized than in this project, which is reimagining such a central piece of Wilmington's breathing heart. Phase 1 will provide housing that will offer remarkable opportunities, dignity and stability, and modern amenities including things like Wi-Fi that I suspect William Bancroft couldn't have imagined. Ways to connect, not just across this beautiful ribbon of green, but across the magic of the internet. Ways to connect in the 21st century that are rooted in the values of the 19th. William Bancroft was a man far ahead of his time when he built the first homes for working families a century ago. And I'll just remind you briefly that he belongs to a great American tradition of industrialists, whether it was Milton Hershey or it was Henry Ford, who recognized the need for quality housing, for schools, for communities that were welcoming and healthy, long before the government got involved in providing these things. But a key difference in how Bancroft did it was rooted in his faith. It was rooted in the quiet, decent, simple faith of Quakers who've played such a central role in Delaware and in Delaware's history and will continue to in Delaware's future. If Bancroft were alive now, building homes in 2015 for working Wilmingtonians, I believe this plan is what they would look like. To grow a community, you need housing where working families can afford their rent, so they're not paying half of their monthly check into their housing cost, so they can actually lay the foundation for the future of their children. And it's no secret that our community remains, as do so many, in dire need of affordable housing. The Delaware Housing Coalition just released a study that says renting an affordable apartment is out of reach for many Delawareans, including all who are working on minimum wage.
This is an amazing project, and it is very exciting. This is a beautiful part of our city, of our county, of our state. I love coming to this part of Wilmington, and this is indicative of amazing things going on in Wilmington. I mean, the level of investment that's taking place right now in Wilmington is extraordinary. Hundreds of millions of dollars of investment. The creation of hundreds of additional residential units, cutting across a range of income areas and in different parts of the city. And if anybody had come to Wilmington 10, 15 years ago and sort of took a hard look at Lower Market Street, or 15 years ago what was going on at the riverfront, or having come through this area, which has always been beautiful, and thought about the kind of investment that would be taking place over this next 10, 15 years, people probably wouldn't have believed it. But it's true, and it's amazing. And there are so many good stories. And it's the same things as I was saying about Jeanette. I can talk about the hundreds of millions of dollars. I can talk about the hundreds of additional units. But what this is, these are, real people who are saying they're going to make their home right here in Wilmington. Whether it's the young entrepreneur in the startup community, whether it's a teacher who's moving because of the new schools opening up in the city of Wilmington, people who are adding vibrancy to our community. And as a result, new restaurants being opened, new cultural outlets. I mean, it's a very, very compelling story. And it's one that we should all be so excited about. And I think, as all of the speakers have said, this is huge. I mean, this has been on the drawing boards now for quite a while. Representative Keeley, every time we talk over the last few years, she's mentioned this in some fashion. I know how excited she and the other elected officials from the area are, but more importantly, I know how excited all the residents are. And it is amazing how many people it takes to bring something like this together. And I want to thank Anas Benati, who's the director of the State Housing Authority, for the work of his team, he and his team for bringing this together. We have, in our administration, we've invested $42 million in our Housing Development Fund with the great support of the General Assembly. And it is such, when we think about, we are in another really tight budget year. It's pretty much all we've known. But I will tell you that when it comes to housing, the payoffs are so significant. The economic return that we get from investing in housing is so significant. And in this case, our investment has really had a compounding effect, because it brought in an additional $184 million and has created a couple thousand jobs in the process. This is what it's all about. And so when we think about this project, when we think about the amazing things that are going on already as a result of the downtown development districts, I mean, the excitement when you see some of these projects, a few blocks from here, and you envision what it's going to be like in just a couple of months with people moving into these revitalized spaces. This is exactly what we want for our communities. It's exactly what we want for our cities. It's certainly what we want for Wilmington.
This is something that I'm very proud to stand here today to see a lot of this coming to fruition. Many of you may remember the old Woodlawn Library that sat a block away. And about 10 years ago, then former Representative Joe DePinto and I convinced the state that when the DMV was moving, that would be the perfect location for a new library. And thankfully, the governor at the time and our current governor, with support from Newcastle County, thought it was a great idea as well. Most recently, if you look around, a lot of the lights that are here on the Parkway were provided by the state. It allowed for better lighting for the neighbors, for the community. There's a lot of people who walk these streets. Any given day, any given time of the day, you will see a lot of the residents walking from the beginning of the Parkway to the end of the Parkway. But more importantly, we've had private industry make the decision that this is where they wanted to be, where they wanted to set up shop. And it would not be right for me not to mention Gary Nitchie and his partner Joe Wyke and Sean Darty, who made the decision. They could have put their law firm anywhere in this city, anywhere in this state, but because Gary and Joe are neighborhood boys, they made the decision. They made a decision to build a brand new law firm here that anchors the library and the law firm. You can see the reinvestment on Union Street. If you haven't been to one of the restaurants on Union Street for lunch or dinner, please go. You will not be disappointed, I promise you that. I live here just down the Parkway. And walking up to Union Street is such a wonderful thing to be able to do, to be able to walk here and enjoy an evening and enjoy the library and enjoy the residents. There's a lot of residents who I've had the opportunity to know and get to know and call my friends over the years. Robin Johnson, Marcia Beecham, Mr. Frank, and I hope that they will all be here once the revitalization of these apartments take place. I can't imagine, actually I can imagine, because I grew up in a town, in a row home here, not far from here, 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, 6 people. It was difficult. And to know that for many years, the residents in these homes had to endure smaller circumstances for sometimes bigger families. But if I can just circle back around, this doesn't happen on just government's dollar. It happens because Woodlawn Trustees made the decision that we're going to do this. It's the right thing to do. It could have been very easy for them to say, you know what, we're gonna tear all this down and we're gonna build townhouses and we're gonna sell them. But the commitment is there from a private organization to say this is the right thing to do for Wilmington, this is the right thing to do for the state, but more importantly, it encompasses the vision of our founder, Mr. Bancroft. Thank you very much.